Yes, what's happening, people? And welcome back to GavGoesIn. So, guys, Next Gen 50. Obviously, we carry on the series. I think I've done... Ooh, can't remember now. I think I've definitely done about more than 10, I would say. Again, so if you guys get a chance to check my playlist, go on to Next Generation 50. So what Next Gen 50 is, guys, is the best 50 young players in Europe right now, or the world, should I say. And obviously the ages are below 21, I believe. I think it's below 21. And as I said, if there's any players that you feel that I've missed out, I've got a list of players that obviously I haven't got onto a lot of them at the moment. But if there's some players that you want me to talk about, then be sure to drop that in the comments after the stream has ended. So today brings us to, a player on my list, that is quite well known now, and again, he's someone that is, is tipped for stardom still, I think, I'm going to have my say, because I'm a bit different at the moment, but when I first saw him, I thought, he was going to be the next big striker in terms of potential. But at the moment, I'm not too sure. And I think it's safe to say as well, he's not really getting the game time, And that's none other than Brazilian striker, obviously Real Madrid's Endrick, And what I would say about Endrick, only 18 years of age, and I'm going to go through a list of his accolades because I've just, well, not accolades, just his goal scoring exploits, And then we're going to get on to where I think his career might end up. So as I said, 18 years of age, and costing Real Madrid, 35 million with potential 25 million add-ons, so a lot of money for a teenager coming out of Brazil. Obviously came from Palmeiras, and Palmeiras, to be honest with you, are doing very well, or they did very well in the Club World Cup, obviously getting beat yesterday by Chelsea, but very good game. But yeah, so come from Palmeiras and, 14 appearances for Brazil national team, 2 goals for them, against England and Spain. And then Real Madrid, 31 appearances in all comps for Real Madrid. And you know what? From what I'm seeing of the return in terms of numbers, I was actually shocked to think that he's only got 2 goals for Real Madrid in all comps. I think 1 in the Champions League, 1 in La Liga. I mean, it's shocking. And I mean, a lot of Endrick's games as well, hasn't been starts. It's been come off the bench. But to think he's got 2 goals in total for someone that cost that amount, and obviously the potential add-ons, which are going to rise to what, about 60 mil, is pretty much poor, if I'm honest with you, for 2 goals for that. But I think in terms of his prowess in front of goal, I mean, the guy can score goals. There's no doubt in that. I mean, I know he's only got 2 goals for Real Madrid, which again is poor, and the same for the national team in 14 appearances. But I've written a list of Endrick from Palmeiras, and this is from under 11 age up until the under 20s age, and obviously into the senior team as well for Palmeiras. So under 11s, he got 50 goals in 46. Under 13s, he got 57 goals in 46. Under 15 level, he got 20 goals in 35. Under 17 level, 17 goals in 28. Under 20 level, 17 goals in 33. And obviously for the Palmeiras first team, 21 goals in 81 appearances, And obviously was playing for them when he was what, 16? Barring on 17, I think he might have been when he left. But so it's quite clear that Endrick does know where the back of the net is, I think what I would say about Endrick, for me, from what I saw of him, I often said, he's a mix of, if anyone remembers, Adriano, the left-footed Adriano, and then a mix of him and a mix of Romario, So I thought he was a mix of both the players. And as I said, the left-footed power shots that he had, that Adriano had, and obviously his diminutive stature in terms of his movement, and his clinical finishing that Romario had. You know, I think what changed my mind a bit was when I see England, when Brazil played England at Wembley and Endrick come on for his debut. And although Endrick scored, you know, he scored the tap in from, I believe it was the Vinicius Junior shot. There was one chance in that game which I thought, do you know what? I expected him to score the goal, and the way he missed it, in my estimation, I thought maybe he's not the player that I thought he was. You know, because I thought watching some of the clips of Endrick, you know, as I said to you, he looked like for me the next big striker coming out of Brazil, and someone that I thought was gonna definitely dominate European football in terms of a striker. And as I said, that chance he missed against England for Brazil, it was I can't remember the chance. I think the ball come. I think I don't know if he was 1-on-1 and he put it wide. I can't remember the actual chance, but that miss there stuck in my mind, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm gonna have to watch Endrick closely to see if he's the player that I thought he was gonna be, or if he's someone that isn't as good as he's made out to be, you know. And I think at this moment in time, my judgment was quite right in terms of he isn't as good as I thought he was gonna be. You know, some of the things that I've seen him do, you know, is a bit shocking really for someone that has this amount of hype to his game, and obviously Real Madrid parting with that money to get him. You know, I think obviously he's got the age on his side, you know. I think most importantly for me at Real Madrid is where does he figure, you know, because I mentioned this about the likes of Rodrigo, obviously fellow Brazilian compatriot, you know, and again, Rodrigo for me is good enough to be at Real Madrid and good enough to be a starter definitely, but because of politics and certain things as well, he might not have a place in this team, and not because he's not good enough, it's just because the system that Xabi Alonso might play, you know, there's other players there in terms of Mbappe and Vinicius Junior that play on the left where Rodrigo actually plays, and they're going to have preference over him because of their status in football. And then if you're looking at the right hand side, if they play a free, then obviously Xabi Alonso has played with a left footer in what he did with Bayern Leverkusen. He had Adli there who was left footed, inverted. So you're looking at Arda Güler, Franco Mastantuono as two players that can fill that position, and this is why Rodrigo for me doesn't really figure. But in Endrick's case, he's going to have the same kind of thing because, as we know, Endrick's a striker, but between Mbappe and Vinicius Junior, they have to both play. So it's like they're going to occupy two of the spots, whether it be on the left with Vinny and Mbappe through the middle. Then on that right-hand side, Endrick could play there, but then you've got Arda Güler and you've got Mastantuono, who you'd think who are more suited to play in that position, because Endrick's a number 9 striker to play through the middle, and then the player playing either side of the main striker, you would say they're a bit more creative than actually being an out-and-out striker. So Endrick for me is gonna have a tough time trying to get a place in this team, purely because he's got Mbappe there. So unless he moves on loan, you know, and gets regular game time, and he needs game time, still needs to get the experience as well, then for me, I don't really know where his career is gonna go. Because as I said, I think he was someone that was definitely tipped to be a future Brazil number 9. And at this moment in time, I'm not too sure, you know. But as I said, his goal scoring prowess is obviously there from young, you know. And although he's got 2 goals for Real Madrid, you know, I think there is still hope that he can reach the level of what many people are expecting of him. And again, he's only 18 years of age. And I think from what I've seen of him, you know, his link play for me isn't great. He's got a decent first touch, you know, his striking of the ball is very good. But I think where he excels is his movement, you know, his change of pace and his clinical finishing. I do think he's a clinical finisher, you know, but again, he needs more game experience. And the fact that he's not really getting that game time for both club and country, he's got a decision to make, because again, football careers go quick, sorry. And the longer he stays at Real Madrid, with the likes of Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. still being there, there's only one place available. And you've got players like Arda Güler, who, as a footballer, is better than Endrick. Then you've got Mastan Tuano, who's the new signing. And obviously, as I said, Endrick plays through the middle, and you've got other players there as well. So how he manages to get himself in his team and get regular game time, I'm not too sure. But for sure, he definitely needs to get a loan move or permanent move for the betterment of his career if he wants to realise his potential, I think his value at the moment, I think 55 million euros, which is about, 50 mil sterling, obviously Great British pounds. So whether a Premiership team comes in for him or offers him a loan, I think that would be a good move. But again, I think the loan fee that Real Madrid might ask for might be a lot. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But definitely I do think he needs to get more game time and have a think about his future, man, because, his career can go just like that if he's not careful, But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Obviously, Brazilian prodigy, Endrick, a lot of hype surrounding the move, but the move hasn't gone the way that was expected. Let me know what you think. Do you think Endrick moves on loan? Does he move on a permanent? Or do you think he forces his way into the Real Madrid lineup? Because as I said, if Xabi Alonso plays the 3-5-2 that he or the 3-4-3 that he was playing at the 3-4-3 that he was playing at Bayer Leverkusen, I personally don't know where he fits in this, and as I said, I mentioned Rodrigo. It could be a similar case, even though Rodrigo is good enough to play. But as I said, other things are in factor there. But yeah, guys, let me know. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoy the content. And again, check out my playlist for other content on Nxt Gen 50. And yeah, as I said, let me know after the stream's ended. Let me know what you think and put your comments in, guys. Big up yourselves and take it easy.